Good morning. I'd like to welcome everyone online and in the chamber to our 27th day of October 2020 Weber County Commission meeting. Appreciate those on Zoom as well. This meeting is also being streamed. I think we're up and operating. I'm Commissioner Gage Farrar. I'll be chairing this morning. I'm joined this morning by fellow Commissioner Scott Jenkins to my left and Commissioner Jim Harvey to my right. And on this beautiful fall morning, it's a great opportunity to participate in this public process. So with that, we're going to start with a Pledge of Allegiance given by Steve Burton. Our invocation will be given by Commissioner Jenkins. Thought of the day will be Commissioner Harvey, and then we'll hear public comments. Steve, time's yours.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Jenkins.
Our Heavenly Father, as we come forward this day at our commission meeting, we give you thanks for the opportunity we have to be involved in government, to as commissioners, to be involved and help make decisions that are associated with the citizenry of this county. We're grateful for those who've attended this meeting this day, who also have chose to be involved in this process. We pray that watch out and bless them as well as watch over us, and bless our families in our absence, and bless us that thy Spirit will attend us, and that the decisions we make will be in accordance with thy holy mind and will. We're grateful to be able to serve with each other, for the camaraderie we have in the county, and the friendships we build with all these fine people that work for the county. We pray that thou bless us and protect us and be with us this day, Lord, and we say in the name of Jesus Christ, amen.
Commissioner Harvey.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. You know, in as much as it's 1 week away from our elections, there are a couple of thoughts regarding elections that I thought I'd weigh in on.
Please do.
Leadership is not about the election. It's about the next generation, from Simon Sinek. And then from Patrick Murphy, the political process does not end on election day. Young people need to stay involved in the process by continuing to pay attention to the conversation and holding their leaders accountable for the decisions they make. I absolutely agree with that. I think being held accountable is absolutely necessary, yet as we as elected leaders, and I think we're doing well by the numbers, we're doing a good job as it relates to being held accountable by the way we are communicating and having our openness, being transparent, being teachers. We have, even whether it's this meeting or any of the other things that we're doing with our communications, we have more visits to our site, you know, here on the Wasatch Front, but we have more visits to our site and the things we're doing than Davis, Salt Lake, and Utah counties combined. We're the smallest county of those four, yet we have more visitations and more interaction than those other three combined. So I think that's great. Now, and one of the things, I'm going to kind of set something up here a little bit. But if you sit down and you look at any type of media as it relates to the election, we're being bombarded with the disrespect, and the election is bringing out a lot of times the worst in people. But there was an example recently on the Today Show that showed two Utahns who decided to campaign above the fray and to respect one another in the campaign. And that was the two candidates for governor, this year's Utah governor. In fact, it was so popular that the Today Show recently ran their ad and interviewed both of them on national TV. What better advertising can you get if you're a candidate than that, than be on national TV because you're above the fray? And I hope that we as Weber County will choose to adopt respect and kindness, not just through political, whether we're running politically, but just one to another. You know, I've said everyone loves to be respected, even a prisoner who might be shackled and chained and is headed somewhere. He still likes to be, or she likes to be respected. And I think it takes a person of great character who can get away from themselves to still respect someone else. And I hope that our people here in Weber County are great people, and I hope they'll choose respect and kindness over the others. And so those are my thoughts today, Mr. Chair. Thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you. Great thoughts. Yeah, we appreciate that. Okay, let's go to public comments, if we might. Anybody online or in the chamber that would like to address the commission, now's your opportunity. Anything on Zoom that we see? Stacy? Anybody in the audience? Seeing none, let's move forward, and we'll go to agenda item F. This would be the presentation of a proclamation recognizing Stauffer Towing for volunteer service. And this was during the recent windstorm, and our own Commissioner Jim Harvey will be presenting that proclamation. Commissioner Harvey.
Terrific, thank you. You know, in early September, Weber County had a windstorm that was I would say, a centennial storm. I personally am aware of trees that had more than 200 rings in them that were finally blown over. And you know, we have these storms in Weber County in the spring and fall almost every year. But some of them they were huge trees. And for those of you online, you're going to see some pictures there. Some people say, you know, I had a root ball in my front yard that was 3 feet in diameter. Well, take a look at that root ball. You can see that it's rather large. This was courtesy of the Stauffers and their family. You know, and what happened was that one of the great things that happened is in the Pleasant View area and throughout Ogden, but also especially out of Weber Canyon in Uinta, Upper Uinta, South Ogden, and Washington Terrace, some in Riverdale, and that ribbon coming out of that canyon, huge devastation. And the great thing was, is many of the neighbors decided that they would come and help. We recognize in the audience today Mayor Mark Allen from Washington Terrace. Thanks for joining us today, friend. But the people, what happened was that they'd come and they cut down these trees for their neighbors, and then the cities and the county, we actually mobilized and we built temporary stations to dump the material so we didn't have to haul it clear into the transfer station or clear out to Little Mountain. And parking lots at churches and city centers and buildings became overwhelmed with hundreds of thousands of cubic yards of material, dead material or cut down material from green waste and branches. It was overwhelming. And when you talk about, most people know the size of a football field, but take the size of a football field, fill it up, make it 16 to 20 feet high, and there were many of those scattered throughout the county. A special thanks to people like Bruce Stevens and the Red family for using their properties, their own private property, where people could bring the green waste in and dump. But what happened as a result of that and all that kindness is, still back at home, there were root balls. And to get those root balls dug up and unearthed from these massive trees and small trees became a bit of an issue. Root balls are not something that can be just ground up in a grinder. They have to be hauled and done away with. They don't just burn out either. I mean, it's a big process, and some of them can be ground out, but we became overwhelmed as a county and a community. And then there was a company that came to my attention who said, you know, We're not in the arbor business. We're not in the tree cutting or the landscaping business, but we can help. We can help some of those older people who maybe don't have the physical ability or the chainsaws anymore, or the trees that they planted back in the 60s and 50s when their home was first built in Washington Terrace. So they reached out to their mayor, Mark Allen, and of course they said, you know, we'd love to help. They have they have several of these tow trucks, and one of them, my understanding was, can lift 120,000 pounds. Of course, when they pull big rigs and diesels, they need to have the capacity to do that. But what they did is they took a like service and they took it from the towing end and ended up pulling stumps up out of the ground for these people. And so we have a proclamation today for this group. I know that they didn't want to be recognized, and I said, well, that's tough. And I said, Curtis, the dad, and of course he's got two of his kids here, and also Chuck Hadley. They're here in the audience. We appreciate you folks. You stepped in and did something when others just, that's a big, big deal. So commissioners, I'd like to read this proclamation, and then we'd like to get a picture of you folks. And this is just a little something you hang up somewhere that so when your kids and grandkids want to know what did my forefathers and foremothers do for the community, we wanted to make this this is for them, whether they understand it or not, and whether you guys like it or not. This is actually for them, because we want to perpetuate that kind of kindness and service in the future. So with Mr. Chair, with your permission, I'd like to read this proclamation by the County Commission honoring Stoffers Towing for outstanding service in Weber County. Whereas Weber County had significant damage by a major windstorm event that occurred in early September 2020, leaving residents with fallen trees, loss of power, and other property damage, and whereas Stoffers Towing volunteered their services, manpower, and equipment after the storm, and whereas Stoffers provided a 50-ton lift truck and one of the largest lifts available to remove tree stumps, along with trailers to transport the stumps to the landfill, and whereas Stoffers did not seek any compensation for their service, and whereas Stoffers employees went door to door assisting residents in removing stumps with a positive attitude, professionalism, and kindness, and whereas the owners of Stoffers Towing, Curtis Stoffer, joined with Chuck Hadley and their employees in their volunteer efforts, and whereas Stoffers' volunteered efforts helped in the removal of 166 stumps for 101 residents, totaling 180,000 cubic yards of tree debris left behind from the storm, and whereas these volunteers were essential to the prompt recovery from the storm, now therefore be it resolved that the Weber County Commission, on behalf of the people of Weber County, does hereby proclaim that Stoffers Towing is recognized as a champion to the citizens of Weber County, dated this 27th day of October 2020, and it's signed by the three of us. So if you would, and those of you who are here, if you'll just please give them a round of applause. Mr. Chair, with your permission, three representatives from that company are here. Would any of you like to say anything?
Please come up if you'd like to.
Are you sure?
I'll at least walk up and get the plaque.
Yeah, let's do that. We'll meet you down here in the front.
Why don't you come up front and we'll present it to you. We won't make you give a speech. Thank you for that presentation, Commissioner Harvey. That was very well done.
They're not going to be able to tell who we are because we'll have our masks.
We're just all bandits. You know, I walked in the bank the other day with my mask on, and I didn't even say stick them up. They didn't sound an alarm or anything.
Thank you very much. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you, bud. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We
Come
appreciate
on up
it.
here, you three. You stand in the middle.
Okay.
So this is Tori and this is Aaron Stopper.
Hello.
And Aaron, and thank you.
I'm nobody.
You, Chuck.
Our pleasure.
Don't you have to smile?
I don't even think it matters.
Your eyes will
Thank
tell
you.
the story.
They will, huh? Well, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
You know, we should have the mayor come up and be in that.
Mayor, let's do
Let's take one more. Come on up
come
here.
on.
What are
That's
you
a
thinking
great
about
idea.
that?
The honorable. Yeah, I didn't even see. Mayor sitting back there.
I'm sorry. We
It's
should have
his
done that
fault.
before.
And I wouldn't miss the chance to be with these people.
Come on, let's do it again. Right
They're
here,
awesome.
Mayor. Right
They're
here.
awesome.
Over there on that side there.
You
Okay,
bet.
fine.
There we go. Sorry about that.
Hi.
Overlooked you. Good. Thank you. Thank you.
That's the one. Thank you, neighbor. Appreciate it.
Thanks, buddy.
Can we go back to work now?
Yes, we can go back to work. We don't want to stay for this. Thank you,
Mr.
Joe.
Chair, that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Great presentation. Okay, we're going to move on with our consent item. Before we do, I did want to take just a second and introduce, for those that haven't had the opportunity to meet with our new deputy sheriff from the Weber City, Josh Gard. I think he's in the back. Is that Josh?
Yep.
Okay, it's hard to say with the mask anyway. Josh, we appreciate you being here, being an integral part of the Weber Center operation. It's great to see you every morning when we come in, and him and I forget, what's your dog's name? That's it, yeah. Good looking dog. So appreciate what you do for us here at the Weber Center. Great presence, thank you. All right, commissioners, I think we're going to move on now to our consent agenda. And that would be consent items G1 through 7. And 1, request for approval of warrants 3185 through 3217 and 453 914 through 454 322 in the amount of $5,537 557 and 45 cents. 2, request for approval of purchase orders in the amount of $167,150.46. 3, request for approval of minutes for the meeting held on October 20, 2020. 4, request from the Attorney's Office for approval to surplus office equipment. 5, request for approval of Staker Parson 12th Street contract, change order number 11, to address field modifications made to drainage and irrigation structures for farmers along the project. 6, request for approval of Staker Parson 12th Street contract, change order number 12, a no-cost change order addressing work changes requested by Weber Basin and paid for by them. 7, a request for approval to extend the term of a lease agreement with Summers & Summers, LLC and Western Landscaping from November 1st, 2020 to October 31st, 2021. Those are the 7 consent items. Commissioners, questions, comments on any of the consent items? Commissioner Jenkins.
I have questions, but why don't we let Ricky make a presentation on?
Okay, Ricky, you want to go first?
You bet.
Go ahead.
So this week we issued 12 purchase orders for $167,000. Just over half of that amount, or $92,000, was for the jail to purchase some kitchen supplies as well as a fire panel replacement. $40,000, or 24% of that amount, was for the library, and that will be to purchase ebooks and audiobooks. 9%, or $15,000, is for the sheriff's office to purchase riot gear, and 6%, or $11,000, is for the ice sheet to purchase concessions. For checks, we had a really large check run this week, one of the largest I've seen in the past 10 years, $5.5 million, over 400 checks. 1/3 of that amount, or almost $2 million, is CARES Act disbursements. And then we had 14%, or $773,000, was for the employee health insurance. Another 14%, or $758,000, was transportation dollars being used on 2550 South the road construction there. 9% or $475,000 is for the transfer station, and that is, it says Caterpillar rental. I don't know if that means we're renting or if we're buying it out. Okay, that's the annual lease payment. That's right. And then 6% or $321,000 was for the jail, and the bulk of that amount was the nursing services contract. And that's my report.
Thank you. Now, Commissioner Jenkins, questions?
You bet I do. Appreciate that. And he answered one of the questions I had in there, so that was
Yep.
good that he went first. Second one is where it says on page 14, Weber Human Services, $193,000. It says contribution. What does that mean?
So we contribute, the county provides funding to Weber Human Services. They used to be part of the county, and then they split that off, and the county funds part of their operations, and that's the monthly amount that we contribute
Okay.
or give to them.
Very good. And let me look here. There was one other. So, Commissioner Harvey, I suspect you can answer this. Saunders Construction, it says library building improvement, and that's it. Is that the last payment up there in the at the Upper Valley?
I don't know that, Commissioner, it's the last payment.
But it
it's-
is a payment.
It is a payment, and that's the one that we
Okay.
approved back.
Ogden Valley, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Ogden
I'm
Valley.
assumed that's what that was, but I just kind of want to make sure.
That has to do with, too, just the redo of the septic
Yeah.
up there in the pavilion. Yeah.
All right, I do believe that was it. Thank you very much for calling. Oh, and then I wanted to ask, this item 7 on the consent items, lease agreement extension, I don't understand what that's for. Nobody's talked to me about that.
Sean, do you want to, this is the Upper Valley, isn't it? It is. Yeah, this is on that lease we have on the, with Summers up there.
Not aware of that.
This is
Or at
the
least don't have
property at
record.
our road shop that we lease to Summers and Summers
Oh.
and Western Landscaping.
Okay, the landscaping
Correct.
person. I'm with you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You bet. Okay. You
makes
know,
sense.
you have so many of these come across your desk and in front of you, sometimes you forget them.
Yeah,
Once in a
absolutely.
while, I do that. So with that, I'd make a motion that we approve item G, 1 through 7, the consent items as presented.
Great, thank you. We have a motion
Second.
and a second by Commissioner Harvey. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye, motion carries. Thank you. I just might mention, Ricky said that about $2 million went out for CARES Act funding. That was our second round. There'll be additional funding that will go out this week. And just for everybody's information, the third tranche of money that is now in the bank.
It's in the bank.
It's in the bank, it's official. So John Bond and his team have been working very hard. We're looking at some dispersals to Ogden City for continuation of help for small business and nonprofits. We're going to talk to some of our own nonprofits, as well as the school districts will be a big benefactor, as they should be, for this next go-round of money. So that's in the bank. We'll be working with the cities and making sure that those dollars are actively put back in the community. And we're here to help the mayors that are willing to involve themselves with Weber County, which has been a majority, by the way. Been very thankful for the support and help of the cities as we move through this. As we all know, not all counties have been that fortunate to have the cities participate with them in a program. So, again, congratulations, commissioners. You've done a great job with that.
Thank you,
Appreciate
Commissioner, for leading out, yeah.
Appreciate your help with that. Okay. With that, let's go to action items. H1, request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and Weber State University approving the riding arena usage in exchange for community service hours from the Weber State University rodeo team. Mr. Duncan Olson, welcome.
Good morning, Commissioners.
Good morning.
This is one of those good contracts that we get to do multiple things. We get to help out our local Weber State Rodeo Club, but we also get the return of them coming out and cleaning our barns. The turnover from one event to another gets pretty tedious, and cleaning all those stalls is tough. And Weber State, again, has agreed to come out and clean up after the icebreaker. In return, we've given them their practice time in the riding arena for the season.
Now, If I might, Mr. Chair.
Go ahead, this is your portfolio.
You know, I don't think people can really appreciate the magnitude. You know, people go out and they have their own horses and they clean a stall or 2 or 3 or maybe 4 or 5 if they're lucky. Why can't our own staff clean 1 or 2 or 3 or 5 stalls?
Well, we can and we do.
Right.
But, you know, for example, we just barely got done with a barrel race a couple weeks ago and had to clean over 300 stalls to be ready for the 500 that we have out there for the cutting show the last 10 days. So, you know, it takes a lot of time, a lot of labor, and so when we're able to take an asset and use it to help us get that labor in return, it's just a huge benefit to us.
So what you're saying is it's not the 3 or 5 stalls we're talking about, it's hundreds of stalls.
Correct.
Not to mention that to make sure that we have good horse health, we also rebed those stalls totally as well. So they're cleaned and they're stripped, and then they all have to be rebedded. And even
Correct.
people at home, when they say, well, you know, I've got to bed 5 stalls or so, when they have to bed, in this case, for the it's 500 and something stalls they have to bed. And so we do, the reason I bring this up is to just bring light to it. There are plenty of volunteer service opportunities to clean or bed stalls at the Golden Spike. If anyone feels somewhat critical that we might not be doing things responsibly in the county, we very much are, and we'd love for them to come and learn how we're doing them out there at the fairgrounds.
Yeah, and we take community service workers. We take, you know, any help we can get when it comes to that stuff.
That's great. Anything else, Commissioner? Commissioner Jenkins.
So, Duncan, do these guys get academic credits for this? I just wondered. You know, it's Weber State and the Rodeo Club.
So
Never mind. You don't need to answer that.
we do support the club. You know, club sports, they have an uphill battle. They don't get the funding that regular sports do. And these kids, you know, they're bred as rodeo goers. They know how to work, and they definitely give back to us.
They're one of the top teams in the country.
They
in the
do
world.
well
I
every
mean,
year.
They really are.
Yeah.
We're grateful to have them. Well, Mr. Chair, when you're ready,
I'm ready.
I will make a motion that we approve the contract by between Weber County and the Weber State University Rodeo Club for exchange for service hours for the rodeo team and the cleaning of the stalls.
Thank you. We have a motion.
Second.
And we have a second. All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Duncan. It's great to see the Weber State rodeo team still hanging in there. They've been around quite a while.
Long time.
And fortunate we have that participation with Weber State.
Yeah.
It's great for them and it's great for us. Good work, Commissioner Harvey.
Thanks. Great work.
Okay, let's go to agenda action item 2, request for approval of a contract by and between Weber County and the University of Cincinnati for training, study, implementation, and post-care follow-up of a substance treatment program. I'm showing Mr. Philip Reese, but I don't see Mr. Reese here. Anybody give me an update on this? Do we know anything about it?
Mr. Chair, in the event that Mr. Reese isn't here and we don't have the rest of that, I'd move that we table this for a date uncertain until we can get the presentation.
You got it. We have a motion to table, time uncertain in the future.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Good table. Thank you. Chair votes aye. Let's go to agenda item 3, consideration and action for final approval of Parkside PRUD Phase 2B consisting of 8 lots. Mr. Steve Burton. He is here. Mr. Burton.
Yes, hi,
welcome.
Commissioners. This is the final step in the platting process for this development known as Parkside PRUD Phase 2. We've got 8 lots that are being proposed to be platted. This subdivision was approved by the Ogden Valley Planning Commission in September of 2019. Since that time, developers been working on improvements and also getting water finalized. We have received a final approval letter from the Wolf Creek Water District giving the go-ahead on this, and we recommend that you approve this plat, and I'll answer any questions if you have any.
Thank you, Mr. Burton. Questions on this PRUD? This is in Eden, I'm assuming.
It's correct. Yeah, it's part of the Wolf Creek development, just west of Wolf Creek Drive.
8 lots, okay. And this has been approved by the Ogden Valley Planning Commission.
That's correct.
Recommended final approval. Okay, questions, commissioners?
Not so much question, other than the fact this appears to be just pretty much routine stuff. Nothing, it's part of a ongoing developments, and it's just another section. And so, have you've held your public hearings on this? To any public outcry on it?
Back in September of 2019, I know I was at the meeting. I don't remember a ton of public outcry being there. There was one hiccup was with the water. A few months back, Wolf Creek Water kind of rescinded their water approval letters. So we had to get a new one, and we've got a new one as of October of this year from Wolf Creek. So yeah, if any outcry or controversy, it was likely because of that, and they've since addressed that concern. But yes, we have held the public meetings that are required.
Great.
Again, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Harvey.
This is just a point of information. This is just part of the bridges, the PRUD part of the bridges there is what it appears. And so
That's correct.
I got no issue with this. And if you're ready,
I'm ready. Go ahead.
Mr. Chair, I'll make a motion that we approve the final approval, we make the final approval for the Parkside PRUD Phase 2, consisting of 8 lots that has been presented.
And I will second that.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Votes aye. Motion carries. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mr. Burton. That takes us to a part of our agenda. I believe we are to commissioners' comments. Commissioners, comments, if any.
Well, I'm sorry, but I
Commissioner Harvey.
I think it would be appropriate to mention that, this last year we held a fair. We did that mainly for the reason to make sure that the junior livestock program was alive and well. In fact, we had the best junior livestock sale in the history of Weber County, the highest per animal fee that's ever been paid. And the logo, many of you remember, was a young boy who was leading a cow with a rope, and he showed a pile of excrement with maybe a little bit of residue left on the bottom of his shoe. That idea, those ideas, we started that unfair. That was an idea too. That was the visual was created by Jennifer Graham. Then DCO put that together for us. But in communications for 2020 fairs, according to the International Association of Auditorium Managers and Fair Exhibitions, I won second place nationally for that campaign. So
Really?
here to be commended. This was sent this last week, and since Marty and Duncan are here, and the staff hopefully would look, but I wanted to congratulate you on that. Second place nationally for all fairs is wonderful, and we appreciate your work there. Thank you.
Yeah, it's a great accolade for everybody that worked on that for the fair. It turned out, especially the junior livestock auction. We were all there, and the benefit that's done for the kids in this community, this county, are really hard to even describe. So thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Jenkins, comments?
Not really. I do want to congratulate the Fair Board and the fair and the whole thing out there. It was very well done. The DCO group, I congratulate them. They put this together, and we get the quality that we get, and the creativity is second to none. I'm just continually amazed. They had as tough a customer as you could get with Melissa Freegang and her logo. They went around and around on that. On last Thursday, before I left town, they hit a home run. They got one she absolutely loves, and everybody's happy, and it's like, oh my gosh, here we go. So I just absolutely congratulate them, and I feel very fortunate to be involved with that company on our information that we put out of here. We're fortunate.
Thank you. Commissioner Harvey, anything else? I just had to mention, a week from today, by my calendar, is the final voting day. Is that right, Mr. Hatch?
You are correct, sir.
So I look back on this past 2 or 3 months, as we've all seen the ads on TV and some of the debates. And I just look forward that we will move in very positive direction after this election. I have full confidence, as I've stated a number of times, in the Weber County and the state of Utah in making sure this is a fair election, so there won't be any complaints. And it's going to be great to, whatever takes place, and I agree with Commissioner Harvey that hopefully the people that come out at the end of this election a week from tomorrow morning will feel good about the results, regardless of what side of the ledger they turn out on. But it's very fortunate that we have the opportunity in this country, in this county, to place our votes, and we can be thankful for that, and thankful for the people that obviously have the opportunity to vote, and they take that opportunity very seriously. That's my remarks. Look for a final motion, Commissioners.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. We're adjourned. Thank you very much.